Wishing all of you a happy Women's Day, and I think that it works for the full month. And I am so privileged to have the wonderful women whom I know more than 20 years. And if I know that their journey is so wonderful, so if they can share it and make a small change in a people's life, will be the best thing. That's the reason I thought I will have this session, which can encourage people and motivate others to do the same. So I'll just try to do the introduction for the people on the alphabetical order. So first I'll start with Dhanalakshmi, and she is by profession CA and a coder, entrepreneur, business strategic in her work. We know each other from Wipro days quite a lot. She started in 1999 and lost everything in 2014 and restarted her life as a single mom with her two wonderful kids. So the things what I always admire and try to learn from every person and a woman in our life is Dhanlakshmi. What I learned is she is a person who has so much of passion. So whenever I think of her, she is always ready for challenges. So I know her. She has gone for the car rallies. She has gone for the hiking in Himalayas. She will be always have how we can help a woman who is selling the vegetables or fruit or something, and how to motivate being in a single mother, other single people, parents, how to do it. And welcome, Dhanlakshmi, for this wonderful thing. So, second person, I'll go with the Krishna Kumari, amazing person whom I know more than maybe 20-25 years. She's an IT professional working leading technology on a non-profit private university. The best part of her, I know more, is she's doing much, much amazing work than what I am trying to do it. Maybe 10% I'm trying. She has been doing a podcast called A New Indian Woman. And the podcast focused on actionable strategies on specific topics and interaction with a woman who can inspire. It is a almost 100 episodes. It's a great achievement, Krishna, and fifth year of the content which is relevant till now. And when I speak with her, I remember so well. She tried to give the small tips, like I was telling, so many customers keep giving me WhatsApp, and I'll say, and I don't know how to remember. And she told, just you star it in the morning, you will see those stars and do it. So simple things which makes our life simpler. Whenever I go her, I remembered thinking her mom always makes stitching or taking care of the basket. I still have those. Learned how to make the food in the mud pots and all the stuff. Of course, I remembered every month to her because she introduced to me with her she cup how good it is, other things like that. Thank you, Krishna, for making me so impactful, and welcome to the webinar.
Thank you.
And sorry that Vandana was not able to come with the emergency at home. So that's the one part of the woman we have to manage the home and the society and taking care of the work. So we have last but not the least, Sudha again is a very very wonderful friend. So most of the time I keep telling people the all friends are our customers, customers are the friends. That's a vice versa works for her, and she also is a nature lover, taking care of founder Ayur Farms, which fulfill her dreams. That's the one thing which I like. She always try to go back to the nature and how she can give that part of it to the close to nature, healthy food. Former, she was working in IT professional, social entrepreneur, and cultivate the healthier future. When I met her, we are trying to see how. So she was trying to explain her farms, how things are doing, and which I never thought of. It is going is how the healthy life and happy life is going to be the best part of it. So I'll just give a small intro why I chose the breaking barriers, because the good news is things are doing very well, but still we are far apart from women's financial freedom journey. So I thought I will do it. So I'll just try to have a small videos or small I can say survey done by others, but we should always feel proud, and I am always proud for whoever I've been interacting and all, because we have our own achievement as a CA for a family. So we are managing our families, we are managing our work, we are managing our society also. So that's a please clap for yourself, and that's the best part of it. So you start thinking this even when you have come for this session, what actually motivate and how you can try to execute those is going to be happy. So this is the small video done by PTM, but it is still relevant. Last year they have done it. So I'll just do this video and afterwards we'll start having a call.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to help us conduct this experiment today.
We were of different ages. We were made to like stand in a line.
Now, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. If your answer is a yes, step forward. If it's a no, please step back. Here goes. Ready? Did you learn how to ride a bicycle before the age of 10? Did you learn music in school? Did you take any lessons in sports? And no, video games are not a sport, even if it has the word game in it. Did you learn how to iron your clothes while still in school? Take a step forward. If not, take a step back. If you can make tea or breakfast, not just for yourselves, please step forward. If not, take a step back.
In the beginning, I think the questions were more general. People were still going forward and backward. Questions like, it was funny to see the cooking question. There were a lot of men who went ahead and there were women who were going behind.
Do you usually make all the household bill payments yourself? Do you know the circle rate in your area? Do you know the price of gold today? Do you know the exact breakup of your salary?
As the questions unfolded, the stark difference came out visibly.
Do you know the details of the financial documents you're asked to sign? Have you bought a vehicle in your own name without consulting anybody? Have you bought insurance policies unassisted? Do you watch or follow the budget?
Like you think you're doing okay, but then you're like, okay, these are kind of important things that I don't look at.
Do you manage your own finances and earnings unassisted? Do you know how to invest in mutual funds? Do you know the difference between a mutual fund and an SIP? Do you make the investments for your family members or your spouse? Do you file your own income tax return? Now, everyone who's in front, could you please turn around and look behind you? Initially, when you guys started moving, there wasn't such a big gap. My question is, when did this gap start to occur?
The minute the questions became about managing money, the gap between men and women became very clear and evident.
Women handling certain responsibilities regarding their own life, which were always passed on to someone else in the family or the men.
There was a slight unfairness I realized at that time. But at that point, it seemed normal.
I was upset. I wanted to be at the front of the line. It's like, why don't I know this? Why am I not confident enough to say, yes, I am able to understand this?
It was quite an eye-opener for me because I always depended on the men of the family to take care of my investments and, plan my future.
I felt that obviously men are more into it than women. So eventually I did expect the gap to be there.
Over the years growing up, there were certain very traditionally masculine tropes that were assigned for him and certain traditionally feminine tropes that were assigned for me.
For women, it's practically debarred to learn to know and to focus on money.
I wish I had known from the beginning of my childhood and kind of thought about that I would be doing so much better.
Just actionable measures is what we want, really.
So as we say that how to reduce the gap, and this is a small step to make sure an awareness, because first step of reducing the gap is an awareness. So I always try to speak and tell people, actually, we all take a bigger decisions than investment. So we have to just little bit of confidence. There's not a rocket science. We don't know. We take care of kids where they have to go for the schools, where we have to go for their colleges, houses, what we purchase. We will take care of the gold, which is much on day-to-day monthly expenses. So we are doing actually amazing job and doing the decision. So sometimes in our back of our mind, we says, okay, the guys can take care of this. And I'm not saying something is wrong if your husband's a spouse or you're taken care by the CA or a pair dad or whatever. I always tell it's fair enough. There's nothing wrong if they're doing it. but at least be aware of, because that's the one thing I want been trying to tell now and everybody whom I know. Please be aware what they're doing. That is the one thing I wanted to put it across. So good news is last 3 4 years the women investors has growing, but still we are 25 to 26%. As we says, we should reduce as we are been doing amazingly good. And you can see the last few years, the things of you can say 22 versus 19, the 300% has increased in the age of 18 to 24, and 25 to 35, 132% has increased to start investing. I have been seeing my mom, my grandmom, and everything. They have a very good, because this is like I always says the woman is like a spoon of curd when we wanted to set the curd. You take the milk vessel and put 1 spoon of a curd, and that spread the full part of it, bacteria, and that curd is done. So whenever we try to do something, we help families and society, and that impacts works overall level. So here I'm just trying to have one small video why and how we should do a financial planning. Then we can start the question answers with all our esteemed panelists to give their views how they have able to achieve.
For building a house, it is essential to create a perfect blueprint for the same. Similarly, for building a wealth for you and your family requires you to build a financial blueprint, also known as financial plan. Here are the 5 steps of building successful financial plan. Planning for uncertainty. First step is to protect yourself from uncertainty by buying required insurance policies to ensure that any uncertainty do not eat up your savings. Build contingency corpus. Second step is to build contingency corpus up to 6 to 9 months of your monthly expenses. This will protect your long-term investments from the contingencies like loss of job or slowdown in business. Set financial goals. Third step is to set financial goals and find out when and how much money would you require to achieve these financial goals. Create portfolio. Fourth step is to select right asset class and product to invest and to achieve your financial goals based on the time horizon and your risk appetite. Portfolio review. Fifth step is to review your portfolio periodically and do the necessary adjustments into it based on the remaining time period to achieve each goal. To create a financial plan.
So with this, I will just try to go with the first question, and this question I will ask Krishna and Sudha one by one. So, what inspired you to embark your journey towards financial independence? So we'll go with Krishna first and then Sudha.
Yeah. Thanks, Rachna, for saying all those nice words. I'm so happy to be here. This question I should answer by saying, no, I would have imagined myself to be the last person to be a panelist in this kind of a session when I started this journey 20 years back. Okay. So when I met Rachna and Anil at that time, every single question they asked, I had no idea. The answer was, I don't know. So I was there. So for the audience, from that position in 20 years, yes, I'm no expert. But in terms of awareness, there is a significant jump. So what inspired my journey was, in my initial years, in terms of work experience, I'm 30 plus overall years experience. So 20 years back is when we realized we had invested in a house. And until then, all savings was about, okay, let us have a house. Let us first have a house. And then we realized, okay, now house is there. Now how do we save? We realized something like fixed deposits, which was the only thing we knew, is not enough. The bigger point was, in our generation, we were new to the private sector and IT sector, and we realized that IT sector is not stable. Because at that time, the thinking was any job you get into, it is going to give you stability. We were extremely naive. We understand now looking back, but at the time, it was a new revelation that it is not going to be stable. We should be prepared for some eventuality on the job front. And more importantly, the clarity that there will be no pension, right? And we were in a towards early 30s, and to think 20 years later, 25 years later, there will be no pension. How would we live? That was scary. And then I attended a session from by Anil, where I was introduced. It was kind of a tax savings planning kind of a session. But there, Anil spoke about why it is important to see beyond fixed deposits and tax savings. And these were the days of no internet, and we have no clue uh, that yeah, us, just because you are earning does not mean you are financially independent, and there is much beyond that. And that started our journey. In fact, that particular session brought things, made the puzzle clear, brought all the missing pieces together, and we realized that by ourselves we will not be able to figure out the answers, but at least we should start the journey and figure out how to do this journey.
Thank you, Krishna, for a very, very valid point. When we start, sometimes we don't know, but something triggers, and that's where my small thing in this webinar also to simply start thinking of how we will be able to take care of our eventuality, or we can say the emergency, or how if we are not getting a pension, how to make sure. And of course, thanks to Anil on a that was also we used to have a seminar. That time there was no webinars, so we used to do a tax planning sessions in Wipro, and that's where we came. Thank you for the wonderful thought to start with. Sudha, can you give your part?
Yeah. Good morning, all. Good to have you all and talk to you all on this session. My inspiration to become financially independent started a long time ago as in childhood. From childhood, I grew up in a family where both my parents were working. So we always, mom had a budget and dad had a budget. We grew up seeing the family making decisions on any major investments or expenditure. So where both mom and dad equally participates in financial decisions. And as I grew up, it was not even an option that when I start making money, I have to manage my own finances and get to a point like where we can to be able to say, financially independent, as Krishna Kumari said. We know only we are aware of certain tools only, like the savings and the fixed deposits. That's when we kind of took help from Right Horizons to plan our finances in terms of creating a balanced portfolio and all that. So the inspiration started long back, but through the journey, many people helped, and definitely Right Horizons is one that helped us with our financial journey.
Yeah. So thank you, Sudha. It's very well. Actually, I learned the same things, which talks about getting an echo. My parents told me when I was actually first salary came in 1994 that whatever you earn, you at least invest 25%. And that I still remember my first salary was $1,800. And that day till now, it's going to be 30 years. And that's where I have been always doing minimum 25% of my net salary. And that's the inculcate comes from the parents and other things. That's a wonderful thing. So I'll just go with the question two, where I will ask Lakshmi to tell, can you share your significant challenge you faced along the way and how you overcome it?
Good morning. Thank you, Rachna. And thank you for those kind words and also inviting me to this amazing panel. Both of them are like, doing things that are on my bucket list, podcast and farming. So I can't see the rest of you, but I'm sure you're as inspiring, each one of you. Because what I find is every one of us has a story, and every one of us really kind of, gets inspired by different things, and you're exposed to different things. And your reaction is different. And that is very interesting as to another person to learn from, right? So, significant challenge, many challenges have been there. So if I call myself a CA, yes, I am a CA, but actually, if you call me, I'm a reinvention specialist. Okay, really, I am that, because latest is I'm becoming a business strategist for automotive and manufacturing. That is my latest avatar. But I've been through a journey of having studied for a CA to become a CA, then worked in a bank. They didn't have somebody to code. So, and SAS programming way back in 1999, 2000. So we just decided to start coding. And so you just jump into things as it goes, right? And just kept doing it. So like, I think Krishna was just talking about, right? I think when you're like starting your career, when you're very young, you feel the world is with you. You feel the world, your life is never going to end. And you feel that, oh, I will anyway make money, right? But one of the biggest things that both Rashna and Sudha said, right? Save. Every penny saved is money earned. This came in from the family also. And this was a learning that we had, and it was inculcated very deeply. So yes, I started saving from my first salary onwards. I funded part of my own wedding. I did all of that. But, as we went, like Rashna was just talking about, I had a significant amount of money thanks to the compounding effects of equity. I had a significant amount of money by 2010, and I decided to actually start my own company. And I did. And I put all my money into it. It did very well, but there was a different challenge that happened. And because of which I had to leave everything, including my husband and the business, and just walk away from it. I'd met Anil and Rachna, I think, way back in 2001, 2002, when they had started, when they were thinking of starting Right Horizons, actually. So we had slowly started doing some amount of investment with them, but not everything. Some amount of investment was there. The reason I'm telling you this is because I am a chartered accountant. You'd think that, oh, she knows everything about finance, right? And she would be the one who's doing it. But today, when I think back, I think there's a lot of patriarchy also that is sort of ingrained in us. It's like literally put into our blood, right? We don't believe that money management is our job. Okay. We are given to believe right from childhood that you handle everything else, I will handle the money. The men will handle the money, right? Even if you're educated, even if you know what to do. So even in my business, that's what happened. I was handling the sales side of it. I did not look into the money side of it, right? And the reason, again, I'm telling you this is because basics were there. We started investing, we started putting everything in, etc. But the way everything kind of changed, I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for everything going down the drain and being left with just 40,000 rupees and 2 kids. Okay. At the end of what, 15 years of working, right? And nothing in my hand. But restarted from there. And I remember coming back to Anil and Rachna and saying, I'm going to restart. Now I can't figure out, I can't have my mind share into investing anymore at this point in time. You tell me what I need. These are my aspirations. You tell me what I need to save every month. I will just ensure that I make enough money to give you this. And I'll figure out how to live on the rest. Okay. And they have done a brilliant job for me. Today, I think I spoke to her about a 10-year goal and we achieved it in about 7 years. And I feel you should, it's okay, like Rachna was saying, right? It's okay to outsource. It's okay to look for a partner. It's okay to basically kind of, trust someone else, but just make sure that they're trustworthy. I trusted the wrong person the first time. Okay. So just make sure that they're trustworthy and make sure you are also aware to, like what Rachna was saying, right? Review your portfolio and understand. So give it that amount of time. Again, it's the same thing. What you give enough time, that will grow, right? And do that is something that I have learned. This is how, today I can tell you very happily that yes, I've been able to divest as well. And I've been able to grow the portfolio. And today we are happy to basically move beyond the needs and the wants and now go into the greed section as well.
Thank you, Nana, for wonderful sharing of your learnings, and that's going to affect. But this one thing which I always believe, and you have experience, and that's what I wanted to tell, which is power of compounding is always a eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah.
So I'll just go to the next question. What advice would you give it to other women looking and achieving a financial independence? So I'll ask Sudha first to let us know. You're there, Sudha?
My advice would be first thing every woman have to take responsibility of being financially independent. First comes the thought that you have to be on your own, stand on your own, is what would drive or help them achieve being financially independent. As you all mentioned earlier, the day you start making money, put aside some money, some percentage, 20, 25%, whatever it is. Start saving from day one and be consistent. And over a period of time, it will compound and you will see the results. But what's critical here is the thought that you have to take ownership of your finances, your expenditures. That also plays a key role. While savings is important, it's equally important to manage the expenditure. It becomes challenging for the next generation while they make good money, the salary or the expenses is kind of going over and above than what they could manage because of the peer pressure, social obligations, and all that. So, managing the expenditure and being consistent with your savings would definitely reap benefits. And see the thought that you have to be on your own when it comes to financials.
Thank you, Sudha. It's a very well spoken on how we have to take a responsibility, bring the thoughts, stand up for ourselves. So I'll give you my example. Last 1 year, I thought, let me start giving a financial planning coaching and financial freedom coach for the women. And we try to do, I started with the 5 and 7 people and I failed. And the reason why I failed was because I just told them, and they were women from age of 22 to 46. And why I failed after two session, because I just asked them to start writing the budget and an expense either in Excel or in an app. So after 1 month, they says, no, it is very tough. I'm not able to do it. And that's the one thing I felt it's a very very good tool to write your expenses most of the time. Sometimes that itself will give you the thought where I'm going more or less. So I'll give you example of our daughter. We give around 2,500 as pocket money, and she came, I'm talking about 1 year, 1.5 year back, and she came and she said, mama, actually my spending money is going very much in a car taxi. And the good thing is nowadays app will give you the where you're spending the most. Then I said, what is the solution? So she said, okay, let me go into share taxi. So I said, okay. So after a few months, again, she came back and she said, still my money is coming so much and I'm not able to spend on my own thing, what I want. Then I said, what you should do? So she said, okay, let me start going into the public transport. So good thing is, and nowadays, if you have a Google, you will say that if you want to go in a metro or a bus, how you take care. And that's where she started spending time money in the public transport and then started saving. So I felt, which I have seen very small things, when you start writing the expense and the budget, you will automatically will feel that 30% is safe, because we sometimes don't realize when we're spending and then we go back with the same question. Sorry.
I would like to add that it's a
Yes,
very
please.
valid point, and it's we have seen the results in that too, like making our children manage their pocket money or the monthly expenses budget. As you rightly said, when you put it on paper, they see it. They see how much is being spent and where the maximum spend is and where they could save. Probably it greatly helps them realize that it's important to balance their finances, balance their budget for the month or the week. And uh, this tool definitely helps. If they could put it in a Excel or a paper or there are a whole bunch of apps that kids use these days, and even banks give a nice, beautiful report of where you're spending the credit cards or the food or clothing or accessories. So at least take time to review it once a month or once a while to see where you're actually spending helps.
Yes, thank you, Sudha, for the wonderful add-on. And let me ask Krishna too if she can give her thought on how we should advise the people for a financial freedom, independence.
Yeah, I was thinking about this term financial independence and what does it mean? And I feel the biggest advice is for everybody to figure out what does that mean for me. So a direct meaning would be not depending on anyone for your financial for money, not depending on anyone. But is it even practical? And I realize, and for the podcast, when I get that opportunity to meet many people, a lot of inspiring women at different stages in life, the idea is not to talk about money, but offline, after we have finished the recording, I just take a few moments and ask about the money also because I'm curious whether somebody is 80-year-old, 60-year-old, doesn't matter whether they're rich or not, doesn't matter, but still. And in the podcast, I don't interview people who are really famous, okay? So it's very nice to hear their perspectives on many of these things. And the most common misunderstanding about financial independence, so to speak, is that it is relevant only for somebody who earns. And I see in today's audience, there are a lot of men also in the audience. And it's very important for you also to examine the women in your life who may not be earning an income. I don't like the usage of the word working woman. So I'm saying everybody is working. So the woman who earns versus a woman who does not earn. So is financial independence relevant only for a woman who earns? I feel it is relevant for everybody. But it is important for each one of us to understand what that means. I took a break from IT. For 6, 7 years, I was volunteering in many NGOs. I was not earning. Uh, and at that time, also, this independence and this particular thought was there. And what does it mean? Does it mean that my responsibility towards my family's financial health becomes lesser just because I'm not earning? So I feel it is important. The biggest advice is we should understand what it means for me. So if this video that Rachna played at the start of this session, okay, imagine all the people there. In that video, people were of different age groups. So let us imagine all of the participants there were 18 to 20-year-olds approximately. I would say there is no difference. Maybe some of those questions about whether you have your own vehicle, etc., may not be relevant, but whether you know how to cook, whether you know how to do all those initial questions, I feel everybody does not know. We all, as children, we do not know most of these things and slowly evolve into learning and finding out ways. And women obviously take a backseat when it comes to interpreting what this independence means. And there is this connotation about financial independence, which also I hear from many of the women who were guests in the podcast. I'm just being the medium to convey what they have been sharing with me. There is a connotation of being selfish about money. If you're financially independent means, oh, you get to spend however you want. You get to do what you want with your money. Uh, True, but it need not be interpreted only in a selfish kind of, kinds of gives a feeling, okay, having one secret account where my parents do not know if you are unmarried and very young. And if you are much old financially, the new age woman, then you have a secret account which your husband does not know, or whatever. It need not be interpreted that way. And important thing is for you just because you don't know finance does not mean you should stay away. So let us take the example of illnesses. When you are 16, 17, you have no idea how to handle another living person's illnesses. But by the time you have your first kid as a woman, you try to understand, learn many things. You are not going to become the expert, you are not going to become the doctor. But when it comes to the financial part, the notion of finance means you should become an expert. You should know how to make your money grow. There are people for whom financial independence means learning how to make your money grow. Yes, if you have the interest in it, please do it. But you may not. You may be at the other extreme where you have no clue. So the first step is, what does it mean for you? For me, it means, am I aware of the financial health of my family? And that is where expenses comes, maybe insurance comes, income comes. That is the first step. We can get into the second and third steps, but this is the first step I would want to share. If time permits, we can get into maybe the subsequent steps also.
Thank you, Krishna. And you have put your all the knowledges when you're speaking with so wonderful women in the podcast. You have done already more than 100. So, but I take this point, and it's a good for my learning also. The each woman should have a financial health of the family. Very, very valid point. With this, I'll just go to the next questions, which says, "As what role has a financial education play in your path independence?" So I'll ask Dhana to, I normally call Dhanlakshmi as Dhana. So please, Dhanlakshmi, you just go ahead.
This is a very interesting question, Rachna. When you told me this yesterday and I was wondering, I said, should I be open? Then I said, yes, I should be.
Thank you.
From childhood, I think I've seen my mother, my grandmother, all of them, like what Krishna was just talking about, right? They had their own stash of money somewhere, okay? From the monthly expenses, they had their own stash of money somewhere. In fact, I should tell you this, that my father actually quit and decided to give up his work when I was in 10th standard. Okay. He decided to actually go and start his own business. And that is actually the reason why I couldn't get into engineering. I did CA because it was free almost. There was no cost. That is the only reason I became a CA. It was not like I was interested in financial education. At that time, I saw that my father was basically looking for investments for his business. Funnily enough, my mother over the last almost like 15 years, she had put together her money and kept it in FDs, and she gave him 22 lakhs. She actually gave him 22 lakhs. And I was really shocked. I said, wow, where did you get this money from? And she said, no, it's just every month, some money it was put in. I put it into this FD, I put it into this thing, and that's all. She's not a woman who is educated in terms of financial this thing, etc. But however, she did what she could, and it really helped the family. So that is where I feel what Krishna just said is right. You have to define it for yourself. And that also keeps evolving as it goes. As you grow, it also keeps evolving. Yes, it is about taking care of yourself and your own, but that definition of yourself, your own, etc., will keep evolving as it goes. In my outlook, yes, being a CA has actually given me a lot of confidence, although I never pursued that path per se. Thanks to the rebellious nature of mine that I didn't want to do CA, they made me do CA, right? So therefore, CA work was not something that I wanted to do. So even in terms of work, I moved on to more the business side of it. But I can tell you today, after like 24 years of working, today I have IT teams that work with me. So I was a delivery manager before this, software delivery manager before this, and now I'm an automotive and manufacturing business strategist. And we bring in business for a software company, right? When I'm looking at this is when I realize how life is coming full circle, right? And that's when I realize everybody needs to know finance. Everybody needs to know, these are the basic skills in life, like you're cycling or you're swimming, right? These are very basic skills in life. And certain basic ethics on that, 5 or 6 of them, if you have, you will be able to kind of, move forward very easily. That's what I feel. But it's important, even if you're an engineer, even if you're an economist, etc. It's very important to get that 5 or 6 things right, basics right.
So very well said. Thank you, Dana. And actually, this reminds me awareness and educations. Normally, I say that's our the role is. Our role is not something that okay where to do. Of course, that's a part of it because that's a full time role where to invest. But managing people's fear and greed itself is what we're trying to educate the people. And with this, I'll just go to the next question, which says, how do you prioritize the investments and the financial decisions to align with your value and the goals? So I'll just ask Krishna on those.
Yeah, this is a very interesting question because uh, with all the importance given to goals, if any of us, either the panelists or the people attending the session, if people were to ask them about goals, something you can, even if you're not thought through earlier, you can come out with a goal. Financial values is a tough nut to crack. And what does it mean? What does it mean? But actually, it is something that we know, we are not able to articulate in words. Something which makes you feel uncomfortable deep inside, but it's very difficult to articulate. So I feel a good place to start, and which is what helped me, is examining my own lifestyle and expenses, whether it is aligned with my affordability. So, simple day to day purchase decisions. I am not talking about the big decisions of buying a house, buying a car. Let us take because that doesn't happen very often in life, right? The day to day decisions of how much do you want to buy, whether you want to buy clothes, whether you want to buy. And it is more difficult nowadays because you have all the shopping apps. It's very tempting. But how much will you buy? Is it if you have so much money in would you go out and buy? If something, suppose you are used to buying a kurta, let's say, of 1,500 rupees, would you just be able to just spend 5,000 rupees for another kurta, or would you be cautious about it? These are individual choices. There is no right or wrong about it. You may decide, but what is your thought process? That is what your financial value is. What makes you feel comfortable about your purchase decisions? And if you're comfortable about buying a kurta which is 5,000 or 10,000, that's fine. But maybe there is a point where it makes you start feeling uncomfortable. Oh, am I being overindulgent? You may feel that way, or you may be justifying to yourself, this is a special occasion, so let me indulge. So those are those questions your conscience keeps asking, right, in terms of your decisions. So that is where your financial values are. So at the end of it, what is it that all of us want? We want peace. So so those are those questions which will lead to your financial values, and it is still difficult to write down the financial values as bullet points. But at the same time, the investment decisions and the goals that you have, it is easy to align with these values. So, if for me, will having 5 cars, oh no, that is too much. Maybe I'll have one car, which is for my daily commute. That is okay for me. Or maybe a few years later, I would really want to have an SUV, whatever it is for you. So that is where the goals get aligned with the values. And it is very important for us to know that, to put across the goals. How much money, when Rachna and Anil asked me the question, how much money do you need for your retirement? I said, I don't know when I'll retire. I don't know how much money I'll need. Okay. So they said, no. Think of it this way. How much money do you need now? And how much money you're comfortable? Maybe if you had more money, how much money would you be ready to spend extra? Those kind of thoughts are driven by your financial values, your values around money, which will help in identifying the goals. So my take is, I put across some goals and then I feel, oh my God, this is not me. Then okay, rework the goals. There is no clear answer. It requires iteration, but at the end of it, there is something which makes me feel, yeah, it's good. Because they asked me, how much money you want to spend for your children's marriage? At that time, my children were in Montessori. I was not thinking marriage at all, but they said, how much money? In today's time, as per today, how much money you would spend? And like, it is so shocking. But you are actually, when you want to put that goal, you are unearthing your financial value and trying to align with it. Would you want a very hi-fi, very grand kind of a wedding, or a simple? Both are okay, but those questions you have to find the answers.
Thank you, Krishna, for bringing this very well thought question on lifestyle, because sometimes we take care of inflation, but we keep forgetting our lifestyle is a main core values which we should align, and that works. So just to, I wanted to add one more line in this. I agree, because even in mine, I always say is that I normally buys around 2 to 3,000, and thinking of 5,000, it is somehow I always feel I'm not doing justice to myself and I don't buy. But sometimes it's an experience, and I believe investing in experience is also very good. So I'll give you some background now. Coincidentally, I wanted Smriti, our daughter, to join this webinar, being a bringing a young person who is doing a wealth management in Singapore, to give a thought about different countries, similar girls, how they invest and what is their thought. But she was doing an exchange program, and now she was, as on today, she is in Switzerland doing the exchange program there. And she wrote it to me yesterday that I'm going to Jungfrau and their gliding is taking a 450 franc. Mama, it's too costly. I should do or not? And she says, no, I'm very scared because this is too much of money. So that's the time I told that you're not going to go every day to Switzerland or Jungfrau top of this thing. Sometimes it's okay to spend for an experience. So that's the one thing I wanted to tell. Sometimes it's a good to have a saving investment for our goals, but an experience is also an investment on yourself. So once upon a time, it's okay if you wanted to invest in experience. Like me, I don't like to spend anything. Actually, I don't like gold or branded things or hi-fi cars or anything. But I love head massage, and you won't believe any country or any place I go and travel, I will go for an head massage just for an experience. And then also I have a limit. If I'm going in anywhere, if it is more than 4,000 bucks, I said, no, I don't want it to do that. So sometimes I feel it is good to have an experience, but you can have the boundary, what amount you should be able to do that. Thank you, Krishna, for the wonderful thing. So I'll just go to the next question, which says about.
Just want to add one thing, Rachna, to
Please.
that. It's fantastic to have goals. What I find is that goals also make you sort of compare yourself against the other person. Okay. So it becomes a source for extreme unhappiness a lot of times in life. Okay. So when I lost everything in 2014 and I restarted up my career after being an entrepreneur, I did not get the same salary that my peers got. Okay. I did not have the same salary. I changed, and then I changed to go into software delivery, right? I changed completely to go there. Now, if I start comparing myself against someone who's 17 years experienced in software delivery, with just having started in software delivery, I start comparing, obviously I'm not getting the same amount of money, right? And initially it used to frustrate me like hell, okay? And then I used to look at my peers who started with me in the bank and today who are like heading Asia and earning so much money and things like that. And because of my own life choices, I'm not there, right? And it used to eat the hell out of me initially. So what I have realized is goals are good. Keep your own personal goals. Be grateful for where you are, right? And the choices you have made. Accept those choices. Very critical. And financial independence can happen at any time. It does not need to start right in the beginning. It's in your mind. It starts from there. Sorry.
Thank you, Dhanuja. Actually, this question is also for you. So if you can tell us how you balance the short-term financial goals versus the long-term aspiration.
Oh, that my kids will also tell you. We segregated things. We not only wrote the expenses down, we also segregated into want, need, and greed. That's what I said. We have this clear thing in our this thing. So we start with a requirement, we write it down, and then we say, is this something that's staying over the next 1 week? Then it becomes a want. Then it becomes a need. Okay, then you'll really evaluate it and think about it. Because what I do is when my salary comes, first of all, I save 40-50% of it straight away. I don't this thing. So it's only the balance 50% that you have. Okay. And then I kind of tell them that, okay, this is what it is. So I actually was very open to them as well. My son was about 9 at that time. My daughter was 6. So I was very open to them at that time, also saying that this is what mama is doing. And their point was, why are you saving so much money? Explain to them the point of compounding, right? And today, the benefit of compounding, they're seeing, right? Today, there are things that I have forgotten about. It's in the past. And suddenly it comes in like a windfall game. And today they realize, oh, so that is how it happened. So even today, after things are a little more comfortable, we are still doing the same thing. Like what Rachna was just saying, right? You have a certain X amount of money, you want to spend it. Do you want to go? Do you not want to go? Simple question. I told my son, you finish your 10th standard. I want to take you out and I want to give you a memorable experience. And we go together as a family. Initially he said, yeah, we'll go to Bali, we'll go here, we'll go there. When the time came, he said, I don't want to go anywhere. Let's go in India. We went to Meghalaya and we spent, like between the three of us, we spent 1 lakh. Okay. My budget was 3 lakhs and I was giving them 3 lakhs. But they came back saying that, no, I will, this is enough for us at this time. Because he hadn't got his 10th standard result yet. Okay. Then this year, I said, okay, this year you wanted to go to Italy? Yes, we'll do it. Everything. Now he says, no, I have my prep. My college admissions will start very soon. I have to finish my prep. Don't do all of this right now. Keep the money, put it into a fund and leave it there. It'll grow. When I'm much older and I'm in college after finish 1 year, no, I'll come back. Then we'll go on a holiday. So it's literally like, what they say, don't look for instant gratification. Look for something which is, which you can keep, you can get gratified over a long period of time. That is much better than buying 10 pieces of clothes today. You might as well just buy 2 today and then 2 in the next 2 months. This is the conversation that we have. I'm equating it to the same, this thing, short-term financial goals. There are many. I have to pay my children's school fees. I have to do long-term aspirations, or there is some outage, there is a laptop that is required versus, oh, I want to travel to Bali, right? There is 2 different things. And it is all put together in the same sheet and it is all looked at in the same way. That's how we do it.
Thank you, Dana. It's a very wonderful thing. And the 2 things which I take away from this, it's a very good thing is, what is need, want, and greed. And the best thing what I wanted to take from yours, and which I always try to say, is you involving kids in young. And that's where they learn and they will realize, and you feel surprised and proud when they says, okay, we should not actually spend or we should not do it. We will try to save it and try to understand. That's a very, very good point. So with that, I'll go to the next question, which says, can you share a moment or a milestone that you feel you empowered with the financial journey? So I'll just ask Sudha to do before we go to the last question. Sudha, are you there?
Yeah. For me, the major milestone when I had to realize I'm financially independent, or to make a major decision in my lifetime was when I had to leave my well-paid IT job to pursue my passion. I am an organic farmer now, but I didn't know I'd become one 10 years back. But when I quit my IT job, I had a long list of passions that I wanted to explore and experience, and then kind of figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. But that was a key kind of crossroad for me to decide, am I ready to leave my IT job and I embarked on my passion path. So as we were discussing, the initial savings helped, while you're working, earning, you're just saving money. And, people like Rashna and others help you balance it, help grow it. But you don't know if you're ready to let go of the earnings that's coming in. So that's where we work with Rachna to put together a plan for um, uh, income during the rest of for my future, and even discussed a retirement plan to see, are we ready to do this? Am I ready to take the plunge? And to be able to do so, when we did the exercise, we said, yes, we are good to go. I'm good to go. I can leave. And that's when I felt, okay, fine. I'm able to make a decision because I have a financial backup that I have created from my from past earnings, and which will help me get future plans. That was a key moment where I felt being financially gave the confidence to make that decision.
Thank you, Sudha, which brings a very positive part of that is it's not so easy because I'm learning that taking care of a decision of when you are well paid and start and continue focus on your passion and start a new things. And then thanks to you. With this, we came to the end of the session, and I want every one of us, including me, I will tell what are the 3 points you want each woman. It's not that a working woman or you people, as Krishna says, is all people, all women are required. It can be a homemaker or the working in office or earning, but it is required for each and every woman. What do you think? 3 points comes in your point is a bullet point. Everybody should do it. So we'll start with Sudha itself, and then we will go ahead with Krishna and Nana.
First point is start at home. Start early, start at home. Be a boy or a girl, as Dhanlakshmi pointed out, as Krishna Kumari mentioned. Let's educate our children to manage their finances. So start at home. Education is important, and help them realize how they can do about it. But help the future generation realize the importance of being financially free.
Thank you at all, which is very true, and I agree. Educating our kids means we are taking care of the next generation. That's a very, very important part of it. Yeah, we can ask Krishna.
Yeah, like we discussed earlier, what does financial independence mean for you? I think that is the first point that each one of us should understand in terms of awareness, in terms of families, financial health, etc. Then how to start your journey. It's all nice to attend a session, but if we are going back and we are being hesitant about, do you go back to your husband and say, okay, give me your password? Is that the starting point? Is the point about, okay, how much money do we have as a family? It may work, may not work. So, what is the starting point? It may mean that you start doing some online transactions, which I understand a lot of women are scared about. Then you start figuring about what kind of insurance is there. Most importantly, the easiest one is there will be some discussions around finance happening. Please participate in those. Initially as a listener, then asking questions. The third step is, please remember there is no expectation on you to be an expert. If you think that you have to look at YouTube videos about what is mutual fund and how to invest in mutual fund and what kind of returns will happen, I feel that is not. Leave that to experts. You want to become an expert, that's different. But that is not the starting point. There's no expectation on you to become an expert. So start small. Just be there when money transactions, money related discussions happen. Don't run away from them. Listen to them. Try to increase your understanding.
Thank you, Krishna. It's a very valid point, how to start, because action is a very important. So I'll give you my example. I know what is a healthy food and do. I'm trying to reduce weight, but I'm not able to do. The simple reason is because I always try to do and I stop. So the question here is, okay, I have taken a subscription to the gym, but is it I'm going every day to the gym? That makes a difference. So very valid point. Start small and continue that work. Whatever the first you participate, then you ask questions, and then you start investing without becoming an expert. A very valid point, Krishna. So we'll ask Dhana, what's her 3 points?
I love what Krishna and Sudha just said. Though I'm adding it to my this thing, but I won't say it here. I'm hoping to give you 3 new points. First one definitely is save. Yes, you should save. But you know what? There was this really toxic amount of saving that I thought I saw in my parents' generation. Okay. I'm saying toxic because they sort of, reduced their own happiness. They sort of said, oh, I'm going to do it for my kids. Okay. Don't do that. Just enable them to go earn for themselves and become independent. Teach them as much as you're learning to be financially independent. Okay. And go and experience things for yourself. Very critical, right? That's the first thing that I would say to every woman. I mean, from the age of 20 till the age of 70, right? I would say, please do that. I saw my grandmother at the age of 70, she climbed Mansarovar. Okay. And she went on her own and she did it. So and you see so many women doing so many things. You will get inspired by it, but don't tell yourself you don't have enough money. You do. Find that and go do it. Okay. 1. 2 is understand the power of compounding. Okay. And putting away the stuff, right? Don't touch it. Let it continue. You'll be very tempted at every point in time to pull it out. Oh, I have this need. Maybe I need to use it for this. Don't do that. Understand the power of compounding. Let it be. Okay. I think it takes about 9 years for the first crore if you start investing about 15,000 per month. And then it takes 5 years. And then it takes 2.5 years. So that's the power of compounding, right? So, and the third one is don't ever accept anything that when people tell you you can't do it, you don't have to know about it, you shouldn't ask more details, don't accept that. If you really feel like it, go do it. If you don't feel like it, that is fine, but don't regret it later. Okay. But if in all likelihood, understand where you're investing, what you're investing for, what are people really talking about, so that you can figure out how to review it as well. Don't invest in something you don't understand. Okay. That has been those have been my 3 learnings.
Thank you, everybody. I think so. You have done a wonderful job. So I didn't have a different any 3 points from my side. I just wanted to add, which may not be financial freedom, but yes, as she said, experience. So that is what I do. I always feel we are so much linked to kids, family, our work, and all, and sometimes we forget to do spend time with ourselves. And that is what I try to do at least once a week. I make sure that I'll just go for a head massage. Everybody knows in my house, family and friends, that okay, if I'm happy, I'll go. If I'm sad, I'll go. If I'm down, I'll go. But I just go. So I always feel you should have one thing, something. It may be a once a week or maybe a 1 hour or half an hour. You want to do gardening, you would like to do cooking for somebody, or something you do what you like to do for yourself, because that gives a very good happy feeling. And I feel that's because we are happy, that happiness just to become a compounded and start going around. It's a family to the society to the all family, friends and others. With this, I'll just close it. So I just wanted to say that actually we miss Vandana. She was supposed to join, but because of her personal some commitment, she's not able to do so. She has been so kind and given a video. So I'll just play and then I will open the question answer session.
Hi everyone, good morning and a happy Women's Day to all of you. I'm sorry I'm not there in person. I would have liked to join this webinar very much. I was looking forward to it, but a sudden travel made it impossible for me to join, so I'm sending this message to you. Rachna wanted me to cover the topic of financial independence for myself and share my story or journey with you. I started my career at the age of 21, and like all youngsters who want to be financially independent but don't know how to kind of use money appropriately, would spend all the money that I earned by the end of the month. And it continued that way for a while until I think a few years later, one of my seniors asked me how much money I had in my bank, and I said, nothing, I don't save anything. He introduced me to doing recurring deposits, and that is when I started saving some money, which I could spare for buying stuff or go for a holiday or some such stuff. But nothing very concrete. I might have invested in a few bonds here and there because they looked like safe investment, but nothing more than that. It continued that way till I was about 35 years of age, and I came across a workshop by Stephen Covey, which got us into looking into the goals that we wanted to set for ourselves for our life. It was a deep exercise, and I found that I was thinking about, how I would want to spend the rest of my career, what material possessions I would like to have, what kind of holidays I'd like to go for, what financial security I'd like my family to have, and so on and so forth. And with that, I started thinking of saving. Unfortunately for me, at that point in time, I think this was somewhere early 2000 or so, and could be around that time, that I met Rachna and Anil also. And we started working out on what could be the plan that I could go with. They did my risk analysis. They also helped me figure out how much money I would need for retirement if supposing I lived till 80. I wanted to retire at 50. Wanted to save some money for my child's education, for his marriage whenever that happens, and for all the travels, etc. And of course, build a house. So we got onto a saving plan, and from that time onwards, I started investing in a certain amount of my salary that I'd keep aside completely, which would go into the saving depending on whether I wanted to invest in equity or debt. But there was almost like a SEP that continued, and as my salary increased, we would increase the amount that would go into it. And I continued that way. And so I think I had a substantial corpus built up. I was very careful not to pull out of the corpus, but if I had a need to kind of travel or spend more, maybe I wouldn't put so much in my investment at that point in time, but just leave the corpus aside. So I never dipped into the corpus. I finally did not retire at 50, but I did retire at around 54. And today, when I am doing what I want to do, I think I don't have a financial lacuna of any kind, which would prevent me from enjoying my life as I would have loved to enjoy. I am now on a systematic withdrawal plan, which gets me the money sufficient for running the house, running my hobbies, traveling, or whatever else I want to do. So my advice to all the women who are on this call is, one, start looking at your financial security or your financial savings or making an investment plan or by yourself. Across my career, I came across a number of women who depend on either their father, brother, or somebody else in the family or their husband to manage their finances. And my suggestion is that you should at least know what is happening and be equally a party to all that investment is planning. Because at the end of the day, life doesn't remain same. You may come across challenges. There could be separations, there could be unfortunate incidences, and so on and so forth. And you could be left handling money by yourself. So I know it doesn't come naturally to all of us, but it is not such a bad thing to manage your finances. So get into that and start planning whatever phase of life you are in. Start planning so that when you retire or when you stop working, you will have enough money in your hand. Thank you so much for your time and hope you have a good session. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining. With this, I'll just start taking the question answers. Thanks a lot.